Well, we have with us in studio Norm Trainor. Some background about our very distinguished guest. Mr. Trainor is the president and CEO of the Covenant Group, a company that educates and coaches entrepreneurs, providing them with business tools to enhance their performance and achieve new levels of profit and productivity. Norm has worked with some of the world's largest institutions. In fact, his client networks spread across North America, Europe, and actually around the world. Norm is an international speaker, author of best-selling books, 2 that I'd like to point out. The 8 Best Practices of High-Performing Salespeople, who doesn't want to read that, and the Entrepreneurial Journey, and has written articles for various leading publications in North America and internationally. With that intro, we give a warm welcome to Norm Trainor. Norm, how are you?
Very well. Thanks, Yitzchok, for having me on the show. Congratulations on your book. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you.
Exciting. I can't wait to read it.
To hear, thank you. And from someone like yourself who knows what goes into it. How many books have you put out now?
Just finishing up my 7th book, so I know how much work it goes into it.
Wow. So 6th already, your 7th, when is it due out?
It's due out probably around the same time, December, early January.
And what is it on?
I'll send you a copy.
Thank you.
It's called The Entrepreneur's Playbook. It's
wow.
about how to build a business.
Well, you know what? If you listen to the show tonight, you'll probably hear some of those secrets, but certainly when it comes out, it'll be available all over.
It will be, yes, absolutely.
That's amazing. Well, Norm, let's jump right into the interview. Let's jump into kind of how a company evolves, right? On day one, a company should draft a business plan. How does one go about crafting it? Let's say someone has no idea, someone's listening in the audience, we have many entrepreneurs, small business owners, and we'll get to if someone left before they looked. We'll get to that soon. But let's say someone is about to start. They want to craft a business plan. What advice would you give for crafting a great business plan?
The business plan is the clear articulation of the entrepreneur or the executive's vision and strategy. Vision answers the question, where are we going? It is the entrepreneur's expression of what they want to achieve over the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years or more. We define strategy as the alignment of 3 elements. What are the outputs or objectives you want to achieve? What are the capabilities and resources you have to realize them? And what are the opportunities and challenges the environment provides? Your business plan is your written expression of what your vision is and the articulation of your strategy.
How can a business define its vision?
Great question. Your vision answers 3 questions. The first and foremost for the business owner, the executive, what role do you want to play? The second is, how big do you want to become? All of us want to push as big a rock as we're capable of moving. And the third is, what is the requisite organization? Requisite defined as that which is required by the natural order of things. One of the realities of entrepreneurship is that there are many entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. and the world. Some of them are a business of one. Others are a business of many. It depends on how big a rock you want to push. So it's deciding, what does your business look like? Some entrepreneurs are income producers. They want the business to be an expression of their talent, their unique ability. And the business is really the capability of expressing themselves. And so everything within the business is designed to express their talent. Others want to build a business that is greater than the sum of their time, their energy, their creativity, and their intelligence. They're building a business over time, one that they may sell or they may transition to another generation. There's no right or wrong. It has to be whatever your personal expression is.
Now, Mr. Trainor, I don't know if you're an official psychologist, perhaps you are, but you certainly understand people very well. I've heard you say, quote, "We often make quick decisions and then find evidence to support those biases." It's a fascinating concept. Can you elaborate on this?
As human beings, we are judgmental by nature. We meet someone and we form an impression within the first 30 to 90 seconds. That impression is informed by the person's mannerisms or demeanor, the tone of their voice, the content of what they say. Lincoln once said, "I do not like that man. I must get to know him." And Emerson said, "Our friends are people who like us even after they get to know us." One of the challenges is that we have to learn to withhold judgment. All of us are style bound. We each have a style, a way of relating to the world. You may be outgoing and expressive. I might be more reserved. I might find your expressiveness a little bit hard to take. We need to learn to withhold judgment. However, on the other side, we also need to recognize that people are judgmental. We need to manage the impression that we make on other people. In sales, there are two principles. Principle number one is focus on the other person. Make them the center of the experience. You know, Yitzchok, I'm on a lot of planes. I fly 80 to 100 times a year. When I get on a plane, I'll get on a plane tonight after our meeting. The last thing I want to do is engage in a conversation because I've been busy all day. But I will always engage the person beside me. I'll greet them. If they engage, I'll engage. If they don't, I'll get back to reading and relaxing. And generally speaking, if I engage, I will ask them a lot of questions. And often they'll turn to me and they'll say, Norm, what do you do? And if I don't know what they do, I'll say, I'll be glad to answer that question, but Yitzchok, let me ask you this, what do you do? I've never had anyone say, I asked you first. Why?
Yes.
Because people are most comfortable talking about themselves. So rule number one is engage the other person, make them the center of the experience. Rule number two is you earn the right to proceed. You advance the sale by building trust or confidence throughout. The way we manage that initial interaction is really important. People often ask me what differentiates high-performing salespeople. And we've studied that for many, many years. When you ask a high-performing salesperson what makes them successful, they will readily tell you. When you observe what makes them successful, it's usually not what they tell you.
Wow.
The single most important difference between high-performing salespeople and average performers is the time frame or the time span within which they think and work. In other words, high-performing salespeople plan their work and work their plan very differently than average performers. They manage the before, the during, and the after. So if we know that people are judgmental by nature, the more we know about them before we meet them, the more we can tailor our communication to create a favorable judgment. The more we ask questions that draw them out, the more we make them the center of the experience. The more we tell stories that are meaningful to them, we create an emotional connection. And the more, rather than sitting across the desk from them, we sit beside them and we create something together, the more involved they will feel.
You know, it's a number. We've had such a depth of talent over the past few months with the many guests we've had. One of them was Mark Bodner. He runs a major company, L&R Distributors, a team of 1,000 people. And he talked about this point. He said, when I engage in a conversation, I want to be, he actually put it on the air. He said as follows. He says, are you interested or interesting?
Yeah.
It's a great way he put it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Are you interested?
Yeah.
Or just you're trying to be interesting and then there's no engagement. It's all
Exactly.
about one side and there's no back and forth.
Yeah. It's trying to impress rather than express. It's not making
I love
that
that.
other person
Impress
the
rather
center
than
of the
express.
experience.
How do you define customer satisfaction, which we know is also referred to as retention? How does a company keep its customers engaged? Now, again, all these you've touched on earlier, but now I want to just specifically devote this question on customer retention and satisfaction. Oh, well, customer satisfaction, which leads to retention.
Yes. Customer satisfaction is a contributor to retention, and in many ways it's not directly correlated because satisfaction is ephemeral. It comes and goes. In the investment business, for example, people are satisfied when the market goes up and dissatisfied when it goes down. I mentioned the restaurant experience. I have a friend who raised 5 children and very successful business owner, and when he put his final child through college, he wanted to buy a very expensive car. And it was, and because he'd always dreamed of having one, he went into the dealership. He had his car ordered. It had to be shipped over. He picked the color, everything. He was really excited. It was going to take about 6 to 7 weeks for the car to come. He couldn't wait. About 4 weeks into it, he went into the dealership and he said, how's it going? And the salesperson punched it up. and he said it's in transit, and he happened to look over the salesperson's shoulder, and it wasn't the color that he had ordered. And he said, that wasn't the color I ordered. And the salesperson said, yes, it was. And he said, no, it wasn't. I've been waiting for this car. That wasn't the color I ordered. Got into an argument. Anyway, it turned out they had sent over the wrong color, and the particular design, so he had to wait another 6 to 7 weeks.
Right.
Now he's really dissatisfied at this point.
Right.
He's gone from being really excited about this dealership to dissatisfied. Car arrives, he's feeling really good. It arrives at this time of the year, and he notices this is a very expensive car. It's got beautiful interior, but it has no leather covers to make sure that the
upholstery,
the upholstery does, the floor doesn't get marked. So he goes in to the dealership, the service department. He said, I need it, and the service man says, well, they're over there. And he goes over. He has to schlep them over, put them down. Now, he's probably told, if you're satisfied with an experience, you probably tell 3 people.
Right.
If you're dissatisfied, you tell 30.
Oh, it's so true. Oh.
He went from being very satisfied, very excited, to very dissatisfied. So you've got to always be cognizant of the ways in which you manage satisfaction. As I mentioned earlier, the more important measure is engagement. And you've always got to be taking the pulse of how engaged your customers or clients are. We have a simple 5-question client engagement survey. It starts with, we send it to you, or sit down and go through it with you. How satisfied are you with the quality of our service? And the reason we choose a 1 to 5 scale is it's very empirically sound. So 1 is poor, 2 is average, 3 is good, 4 is very good, 5 is exceptional. You want to get those exceptionals. The difference between a 4, very good, and a 5, exceptional, is statistically significant. If somebody gives you a 5, they're 4 times more likely to stay if you make a mistake. They're 4 times more likely to introduce, recommend, and refer you. They're your evangelists. So you want to get a 5. If you rate me a 4, one of the things I would ask you is, Yitzchok, what's it going to take for me to get a 5? The second question we ask is, what do you like best about the work we do, the service we provide? Because you want to know, because that's what you want to keep doing. In what ways could we improve? How satisfied are you with our service overall? And would you be willing to introduce, recommend, or refer? Yes or no? Would you be willing to provide a personal endorsement? So 5 simple questions. You take the pulse. If anybody scores you less than if they score you a 3 or less, you're in trouble. You got to really work at it. Score you a 4, that you're at 85%. You got to move them.
I saw this on your website. This is really a great defining conversation. You wrote, there's the idea about client interaction, me to me, me to you, you to you. Can you elaborate? That's so fascinating.
There are 3 conversations that go on in every human interaction, and this is particularly true in sales. Me to me to you, and you to you. We say salespeople stop selling when they get an objection with which they agree. So one of the first things you have to identify is, what are the objections that salespeople agree with? If I think my price isn't right and you say your price is too high, I'm done. If I don't think I'm delivering value and you say I don't see the value, I'm done. So the first thing we have to deal with is a me-to-me sale. Entrepreneurs, when they deal with business owners, executives, when they deal with people, salespeople, consultants, advisors, they look for 4 qualities. The first is integrity. The second is humility. No one wants to deal with someone who's arrogant. The third is dedication. Are you going to be there for me? And the fourth is passion. Of the 4, the 2 that are most important are integrity and passion. That's all a me-to-me conversation. You have to believe in the value of what you do. The me to you is the way in which you manage that interaction. And again, it's pre, during, and post. The better prepared you are, the better a job you're going to do. My friend Bill Whitley says that there are 4 things that establish credibility more than anything else. What you know about the other person, the questions you ask, the stories you tell, and then what you're able to create together. And then the you to you is the mind of the buyer. The more you know about their idiosyncrasies, their choices, how they make decisions, the better informed, the easier it is to speak their language. You know this well, Yitzchok, because it's your business. We're often digging two tunnels. I'm saying one thing and you're saying another, and we're having a different conversation. You got to get on the same wavelength. That's what the three conversations are about.
Any final thoughts for our audience?
Entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, salespeople, all of us aspire. We are all driven to become as much as we can be. And at the Covenant Group, our tagline is redefining performance. In order to achieve and sustain performance over time, we have to redefine ourselves. And throughout our lives, as we redefine ourselves, we grow. Businesses don't grow linear, they grow curvilinear. They go through a series of S-curves, and the apex or the peak of each S-curve is a ceiling of complexity. And to break through, we need to redefine. That's where the opportunity lies.
77 WABC Radio presents Mind Your Business, hosted by founder and president of Bottom Line Marketing Group, Yitzchok Saftlas. Mind Your Business focuses on business and marketing strategies for success.
Hi, I'm your host, Yitzchok Saftlas of the Mind Your Business program on 77 WABC. I hope you enjoyed the show. To find out more, check out the buttons on your right.